So I'm running a Z390 motherboard with an i7 9700K, 2080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM. I have 512 NVMe and a 240 gig external SSD. It's actually mounted on the underside of here. I don't want to take the PC board off right now. I can, but I have a lot of loose wires connected like my power button. The power button at the front of the cab wires directly into my motherboard here. And that allows the entire cabinet to turn on due to a relay I have, which is here. But basically, this white cord wires into, this is going to be hard to show you guys. And we're going to do this on a later video because Porgy's actually going to build an entire Vpin soon for somebody. And again, all these wires are me streaming, so these wouldn't be here, guys. This would look clean back here. Everything would be routed. I'm embarrassed to show you, but I wanted you to see a work in progress so you'd know when not feel bad when you're not making progress or it looks like spaghetti. We all do it. Except Porgy. He doesn't do it. But eventually I'm going to have all these routed through my channels that I have up here. And should eliminate some of that interference I've been hearing in my audio. Let's see why that's happening. Okay. So, any questions? Let me look back. Okay. So, I don't know how to show you guys the back. Actually, I think I do. I'll have to pull the cab out. Screw up the rig, but that's okay. All my power supplies are mounted back here. There is one more, and I'll show you where that's mounted in a minute. But I've got a 5, a 12, and a 24 volt power supplied in here. They're all wired in succession into a relay block and terminals here, so that basically it outputs into one plug and out of the cabinet into the wall, and then everything relays through me turning on the PC. So when I turn on the PC, it powers on the strip that has the monitors plugged into it. It powers on all of the power supplies, and then boots the cabinet. The cabinet auto starts into Windows and auto logs in and automatically turns on pinup popper. So if you're stupid and turn on the cab, it works. I want to go over this part a lot, quite a bit actually, because to this day, I understand the basic concepts of how the power's routing in here, but I haven't seen a great video explaining how all the relays work. It's pretty basic to connect them together, but if you're intimidated by electronics, it can be a little overwhelming. I chose the same color cables. These are 18 AWG. All my power is 18 AWG, 300 volt rated, and that's just for peace of mind. Porgy actually used a 600 volt rated wire, but the higher you go in quality, the more expensive you get. And, you know, as Arnaz said in the post the other day, it's really about amps, not voltage, but I like a little peace of mind. So buying the better wire is always recommended. You don't want to have a meltdown in your cab. I chose cheap wire for the 22 buttons, But for everything else, like wiring toys, I used the higher rated 22 AWG. So basically my rule of thumb, because of how I wire, and you may be different, especially when you get to addressables, I use 18 gauge for all my power. And I use 22 gauge for all of my data or inputs. There are a few exceptions to that rule, but... And then I also did a ground cable. I don't know if you guys can actually see it, but it runs along the entire cab. It's a braided ground cable. I can kind of show it to you here. You can't really see it, but it's tied to the coin door, the lockdown bar, or the plunger, so that if something ever happens, of course, I don't have a 48 volt in here. 24 volt probably won't kill you. But if you're touching these side rails and voltage is going through the cab, it won't go through you. You're grounded. Any questions? I think we're still good. I took the glass off already, but this is a full cab. Let me tilt up the camera. So we still have off head can. Well, it's not getting the full width, but there's flipper fidelity speakers. These are the 5.25s. I don't recommend this, but I early on bought the VS display. It's a great display. Doesn't have good side angles, but you don't play pinball from the side usually. And as a spectator, it's good enough just sitting directly to the side here. But like right here, the angles suck. If you're looking up from down at the DMD, like a little kid might, it sucks. Do not recommend this, because then you miss out on the full DMD option as well. So when you design your cabinet, don't do what I did, because I'm now limited by the size of my back box. Paul will make these with the full DMD. My thinking with this was I liked it good enough. I still do. And it looks fine for full DMDs like Batman 66. I can actually show that full DMD pup pretty good. But other ones, it makes my DMD look too small. But my thought process was, I want this authentic. And 90% of the tables I play are from the 1990s and 2000s. And they didn't have a full DMD. And most of the tables we're getting with, at the time, with pups and full DMDs were the newer Stern tables and stuff. So that's why I made my decision. If I could go back and do it again, I would definitely get a full DMD. But hindsight's 2020. So you guys can see into the back of the cab. So here's my amps. I have them labeled, but this is my surround sound for the back. This is my back box. And this is my surround sound for the front. So this runs my front exciters and my front bass shaker. This runs my back exciters and my bass shaker. So I've got each one wired individually into here. And then this amp that I've suggested to you guys a few times on Discord, I like it because you can plug in a 3.5 jack, but then you're adding more inside your cab with a transformer and a plug. Why not just come direct from your power source and wire it directly in? Not only do you get the full 24 volts, which this can handle and puts out more wattage as a result of, but you have a direct wire, you're nice and secure, you don't have extra cables running through your cab, etc. So, and then I have color-coded cables and stuff, so I know what's what. But there's that. There's Molex on everything so that the back box can be disconnected, unbolted, and taken off separately. Whew, that sucker's heavy. With all these components in it. This sucker's heavy. And I am still missing a part from Vpin. I called Paul yesterday. Because frankly, it's been a long time. But
it wasn't your fault.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game
over, man. Game over. I don't know if you've been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked. Anyways. The other really cool feature, and I can't say enough about Porgy's ingenuity. You can't see it real well, but there is a hole here. And I can, like, wave to you a little bit. Can't see it. This is a funnel. And it will get... Hold on. Risking camera disconnection. So good? Yeah. Okay. Be right back. 1 sec. Almost tripped on the glass, guys. So this is a marine inline blower. And it will mount. Porgy's actually printing me a new piece because it's a little off, but essentially it'll mount back here between the two fans. This piece sits up in the funnel, and then the fan sits underneath it. So like for Whirlwind, when the fan goes off, it comes out this funnel and it forces it right here. So that's right about where your face is, a little lower. That's what I'm missing, Kong. Kind of distracted myself, but Paul still owes me a vinyl piece that has vinyl on. I'm sorry, an acrylic piece that has vinyl on it with speaker panel designs and everything. But yes, I'm due to have this piece. I got the cabinet in September. Yeah. And I'm still waiting on that piece. I called him yesterday. He said it'll be a couple weeks. That's also part of the reason why I'm like, well, I got other things to do. So let's get the basics of what I want to play, which was all the feedback up front. The surround sound, which I didn't know I wanted, but holy crud, I can't recommend that enough. And the power distribution. So